Welcome back to Edging. We have someone familiar back in the studio with us today.
I'm sorry, back in the studio? What do you mean? Have you guys been doing this without me?
I mean, for the first time in a while, it's Edging.
Never.
We've been on like a 6-month break, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we're all back.
We're back.
And for the first time in months, we're here to talk about books.
Yeah, I've been having these dreams that I've been listening to this show and I'm not on it.
That's so weird.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, you might want to see somebody about that.
Yeah. Well.
Fantastic segue.
So, Ian, you read a book.
I read a book. You know, I don't read books though. I think if listeners to the show remember that from all those months ago when we used to do the show, you know, I'm really an audiobook kind of guy because I'm such a slow reader. Mm-hmm. In fact, before we came in, Brooke handed me her phone to show me a list of you know, emails and stuff that we were looking over, and I was like, I can't read all this.
Yeah.
But I listened to a book. Called. Are we just jumping in?
Yeah.
Jumping in. All right. I listened to a book called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix, and it's been probably about a year since I listened to it. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I listened to it almost entirely in one sitting on a drive from North Carolina back to Kentucky. So I had a nice, like, real thorough and uninterrupted just experience with this book. So I'm excited to tell you about it.
I'm excited to hear about it. I love listening to an entire audiobook in one sitting. I think it's the best.
I usually don't have the attention span for it. It was nice to have like the forced kind of confinement, the captive audience experience with this one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love Grady Hendrix. What was it called? My Best Friend's Exorcism was one of my favorite ones that I read or listened to for a long time. Kind of disappointed by the Amazon like movie.
Yeah, we watched that together.
We did, and you hadn't read the book, and I was like, oh, this really isn't it though. It's so much better. This isn't good. I'm sure if you're coming into it cold, it was probably pretty good, but I had such high hopes after reading the book and all the like 80s magic of it.
Yeah, I mean, coming into it cold, it was fine, but it kind of felt like when you're seeing your friends in a play in college and some of the scenes really work, but overall it kind of falls apart, which was a bummer because with the way that you talked about the book being structured, I think that structure would make a much better movie. Yeah,
you lost a lot of the relationship between the two friends in that book. And again, look, I get it. I'm a writer. I know you can't like condense, you know, what ends up being like a 10 to 12 hour listen into a 2-hour movie and keep everything, right? That's just not possible. But it's still disappointing when it happens, even if you understand the limitations of the medium. I don't know.
Yeah. But I thought Grady Hendrix sounded familiar.
Yep. That's why. And this one, just like that, is a period piece. It goes back to the 1970s, like the very early 70s, too, like 70, 71, if I remember correctly. I've probably got notes in here from when I made those notes by voice to text in my car a year ago. So this is going to be a ride. We'll see how many fun like typos there are. Remember those typos when I was voice to texting notes about Olive Hill?
Olive Hill.
That's right.
Miami is a free spirit.
What was that supposed to be?
My aunt is a free spirit.
That's right. We've been saying that long enough that I've forgotten what it originally was.
Yeah, Olive Hill that was like 2018.
Miami is a free spirit.
You know what? That is true. But so is my aunt. I think everyone has an aunt that's a real free spirit.
My only experience in Miami was the airport, and honestly, it was pretty buttoned up, you know?
Miami itself, I would say...
Checked my bags, even.
If a city could be less like an airport, I haven't been there. Like Miami is...
It does seem to be much less like the airport, you're right.
Miami is like a 1970s bus stop that's really popping, if it's any transit station.
One of my favorite tweets from Spirit Airlines getting shut down
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
All these budget airlines are leaving, and I'm like, guys.
Yeah, they got shut down like, I think it was Spirit. That's the like yellow.
Yeah, Spirit got shut down.
It got shut down like in the middle of the day. But
Oh my God.
yeah, one of the funny tweets was like, yeah, the people who were actually on flights had to get parachuted out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people found out they lost their jobs on a plane.
That's a nightmare.
Well, and they didn't even pay to get them back home. Like
Yeah.
if you were a flight attendant or a pilot, and you were like in Europe because you were in the middle of your like route
Shift.
or whatever, you know, you were just fired and you were just laid off right there, and you just had to find your way home.
That should literally be illegal. That is insane.
It absolutely should be. It was crazy.
It was crazy, but it had some funny memes come of it, and one of them was Airbnb owners in Miami are fucking sick right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, because Spirit was the one that had the crazy cheap flights from Lexington to Orlando too, I think. It was like $70. And it was like the Disney route. So you could go there for so cheap direct from a city, you know, big city that we all live near. And that's gonna be brutal. Honestly, Disney should have bought Spirit.
That would have been smart, but they still would have hacked up the prices.
I know. They're all like character flights, and it costs $3,000 to fly domestic for 45 minutes.
And all the flight attendants would just like suddenly be like, you know, 9-year-old children from the Dominican Republic, you know.
Literally.
You know. This is the people who make your dolls, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how Disney makes their money. Man, we should cut that. We're going to get sued for that. Yeah. But you know what? That wasn't how it was in the 70s. That wasn't how it was. Was it? Well, no, those were just American kids back then.
Yeah, in the 70s, we could keep the child labor employed at home.
I don't know. I think we got our timelines all mixed up. But there was a moment there, right, where we were past the child labor, but before the child labor again, you know?
Yes.
And I feel like the 70s might have been that sweet spot, right?
In between child labor.
Yeah, you know?
I mean, the 70s would have been the first, I'm going to say real teenagers. And what I mean by that is like, you know, you have your American Graffiti era teenagers, but they're still really kind of haven't formed what a teenager is. But in the 70s, I think you sort of knew that a teenager was its own thing.
I need context for American Graffiti.
American Graffiti is
I've heard it, but I don't know what it is.
It's this like quintessential American classic. Think Grease and like Boogie Nights, but it's all about being a kid in the 50s or 60s, like the drive-up burger place era.
Okay.
And it's all about like kind of just getting into shit. You know, it was right when kids were not just little adults, but they were their own subset.
Okay.
Like the teenager was being formed. There was youth culture. So then I feel like you go a little bit further, and I think the 70s is when you're like, the teenagers are a thing. They are this own separate thing that is existing in the world. And I think that feels like the era where it would have been like, we know about them, we're afraid of them, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. This is the American teenager.
Ah, that folds right into this. That's perfect.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, are we jumping in? Are we just jumping in? All
I'm
right.
ready.
So, this book starts with the narration anyway, which we're going through the audiobook experience here. The narration begins with an older woman's voice, right? And it's going to do one of those things where we start with someone like looking back on an experience, right? We're kind of like starting at the end.
Okay.
Which I always forget about when we get into the story, right? I think is the point. I think you're supposed to forget about it.
Yeah.
But we're starting with this older woman's voice, and she's talking about this experience that she had when she was young. She talks about some kind of home. It's kind of unclear. It's all real vague. She talks about how young she was and how young her friends were and how little control they had over their lives, right? She mentions these two other girls named Rose and Holly, but she doesn't say much of anything else about them. And we get this weird little hint. She's like, I'm afraid to use their real names, right?
Ooh.
So I didn't know what that was about. she's afraid to use their real names. And then she uses these like antiquated words to describe herself and the other girls in the homes. I don't actually feel very good saying them, but I'm going to say them.
Okay.
Like lost, like loose, right?
Okay.
That kind of thing. And there's other words that I didn't put in there because I didn't feel good saying them.
I was like, where the fuck are you going with this?
But it makes sense with like loose, lost girls.
Yeah, there's some other words that you can probably imagine that I don't feel. A word that we were going to use for this show for a while, actually. Decided that wasn't going to sound good coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys, but yeah, really, they're children, right? We're talking about kids.
Yeah.
And she was saying that, like, you know, they needed someone to understand what happened to them when they were there in this home. That they were taught that the devil was the worst thing in the world, but they would learn that there were like way worse things than the devil. And she says that this home, when they were there, it was like the most natural thing in the world. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
When they were in this home, they were taught anyway that like the most natural thing in the world was evil, and that evil was like in their nature, right? Mm-hmm. And that there's something to be fought against. But when they were there, the church turned against them, their parents turned against them, all the adults in their life did, and the only thing that came to their rescue was the devil. And that's where the title Witchcraft from Wayward Girls, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, comes in. She ends the prologue saying, you know, the devil turned out to be our only friend.
That's really good.
Yeah, right? Now, this part ends like pretty early on. And I guess this is a good time to like break in, well...
to song and dance.
To song and dance. The story is over. They made a great friend. It was the devil. It does not take place in Georgia. It takes place in Florida, so it was close enough. So that's it. Story's over.
Well,
way to go.
The devil probably went down to Florida after going to Georgia.
Oh, this is why you guys stopped inviting me on the show, isn't it?
Why? Because you talk about the devil too much?
No, because I just ended the book. No, it's not the end of the book. But it is the end of the prologue. So after this, we move away from the older woman's voice, and it's a much younger voice. It's a voice actor that is doing a really good job of portraying like a teenage girl. And in this case, we're talking 14 years old, so early teens, right? Early teens. This chapter in the book begins in the year 1970, and it says 26 weeks. So I'll go ahead and just kind of throw it out there. This is happening at the same time. If any of our listeners like heard that Liberty Lost podcast that came out about a year ago, I was literally listening to that podcast when I started this book and had no idea that this was also going to be about a home for teenage girls that were pregnant. It
feels so striking that you listened to the audiobook for this, because it seems so different to read a book in the voice of a 14-year-old girl than to hear someone who sounds like a 14-year-old girl telling this story.
You're right. You know, now that you mention it, that was probably a pretty impactful part of it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if there were multiple narrators or if it was the same narrator doing the different voices, but she does different voices for it's one of those books where you change perspective a few times, right?
Yeah.
From different characters. And she changes the voice. And I want to say that there's at least one other narrator, but she did a really good job of portraying them all differently, which is literally her job, but she did it very well.
Yeah. It's good if you can't remember. That happens to me with audiobooks too. I'm like, was that one person? And I'm like, oh, they're really good. It's a good book.
If it's bad narration, it ruins it for me. So I do remember it, you know?
Same.
I can't finish it a lot of times. But we open up in this car, and it's a girl with her dad, and she thinks that she's on her way to Huntsville, Alabama. But out the window, she starts seeing signs that don't line up with that, and then she sees a big "Welcome to Florida" sign. Her dad hasn't spoken with her the entire drive, and she feels like, like she's sitting in a puddle of gasoline, she says, and that every word was a lit match falling from her mouth. What a great line, right?
That is a good line.
That's an amazing line.
A really good line. she tries to like ease the tension by bringing up the new Planet of the Apes movie that like her dad is a big fan of, but he just like explodes on her. He tells her that he's sending her to a home for pregnant girls, and there's this moment where she gets really confused, and she says, "You can't send me to one of those homes. They're not for people like us. They're for Catholics."
It's funny you say that because I have a book that I read a couple years ago that I really want to present for the show that also has Pregnant Home for Wayward Girls, and they are Catholics.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I think it was like, just anecdotal experience from growing up, a decade later. I remember a lot of like stories about Catholic girls getting like sent off to monasteries or sending off to like, what is it where nuns live?
Nunneries?
Nunneries? Is that what it's called?
Convents.
Convents, yeah, there we go. And like writing it out there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that was probably a perception or maybe a real thing that happened a lot back then.
Well, I think it was real because now that you say that, we colloquially understand that if you had a pregnancy and you were like literally cast out on the street, that the nuns would take you in. They would take you in at the convent. And there's like a pretty long history of that. So it does make sense that she would be like, we're not Catholic. You can't make me go there.
So this car ride, it continues, and she has to go to the bathroom, but she's afraid to ask. And finally she does, and they pull over at a gas station. Before she gets out of the car, her dad, because she's visibly pregnant, her dad pulls off his wedding ring and gives it to her and tells her that she has to put it on so that people won't stare while she's inside.
Oh,
that's awful.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy to think about, especially because like we have only, with the advent of sex education in schools, teen pregnancy's only gone down, right? Like we know that. We know that teen pregnancy has only gone down. There are less teens pregnant than there ever have been. And it is so crazy to imagine so much secrecy surrounding it because it was obviously happening. Like that's why we have so many stories centered around it.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's wild. This, man, my upbringing and my past is no like secret to a lot of people, but this like brought back so many like weird memories of like growing up in a pretty conservative church. Yeah. Even though it wasn't this far back, and this is much more intense than what I experienced. So
yeah.
They go into the gas station, right? And they get back in the car. They make the rest of their drive. And when they get to the home, Neva, our main character is named Neva, by the way, Nevah. I looked it up.
Okay.
They meet one of the girls at the home, while she's arriving there. And this girl has like this rebellious kind of like free spirit vibe. And she tries to bum a cigarette off of her dad. By the way, this is the 1970s. There are going to be a whole lot of pregnant teenagers smoking cigarettes throughout this entire book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was done.
There is a whole lot of cigarette smoking, and it's so jarring, but it's somehow so funny. I don't know.
I don't think that they knew cigarettes were bad until like 2005.
It was earlier than that.
Oh, that's when it hit where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a smoking baby, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Yeah. I think we all probably were. Also, like, knowing that something is bad for you and knowing how bad are two different things. And also, there is a decent amount of research that it's also not a great idea to stop smoking the second you find out you're pregnant because that can be really stressful on your body too.
Yeah.
So,
So you heard it here, listeners. If you're already smoking, just keep on smoking through that pregnancy.
We're fine.
That's the way to go.
We turned out great, obviously.
This is actual legal medical advice.
Yeah, you can trust us. We're all really good authorities.
That's a thing that we're, able to do. So this girl tries to bum a cigarette off of Neva's dad, and just as soon as she does, the office door opens and this woman comes out. She's dressed like all in lavender, and Neva thinks that she looks like Richard Nixon. If Nixon were to dress up like a woman, which is
which would slay if
honestly beautiful,
Yeah.
For a little bit here, she's going to be referring to this woman as Mrs. Richard Nixon, which I loved. This is also where we find out that this free spirit girl who's asking for cigarettes is Rose. And Rose, we'll remember from that prologue, right, is one of the girls that she was asking about or wondering about or thinking about in her old age. So,
does he give her the cigarette?
I don't remember. I don't. In my notes, I say just as she's asking, the door open. So I'm guessing to get interrupted.
If you want to know for sure, read the book.
Yeah, read the book.
And comment. Let us know.
Come on, you lazy pieces of shit. Read the book.
Read the book.
God.
Y'all
Do they smoke?
Complacent without us. Do they smoke?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Call our number.
It is 413-GET-EDGY or 413-438-3349.
And let us know after you read the book if she gets her cigarette or not.
It's so crazy that we have when did that happen? When did you guys do?
Today.
It's crazy that you surprised the listeners with that.
I know, and that we surprised you with it as a treat for this first time
that
we're all back recording. We have a phone number.
Amazing. You guys are so cool, like surprising me on air with all this stuff.
I know. It's so crazy.
I love it. So before they leave, God, this sucks so bad. Mrs. Richard Nixon and Neva's dad go into the office, and Rose shows like Neva around the place. Before they leave, Neva asks her dad not to leave without saying goodbye. He promises that he won't. And she asks Rose, if it's short for Rosemary, and Rose won't tell her really anything. So no one uses their real names there, though. So Rose just tells her she doesn't know what it's short for. It's just what they tell her to call herself.
Oh.
Neva is about to get her own new name as well. We'll get there in a minute. Neva meets a bunch of other girls. They all have a whole bunch of names, and as we go through these, they sound fake, right?
Yeah.
They all know each other's like astrological signs. Neva's a Virgo. I'm not going to describe them all to you, but we'll like talk about them when we need to. All these other girls. I hate just like listing a bunch of names and then you don't know who they are later. So we'll get to their names when we get there. As they're finishing their tour around the house, one of the girls looks out the window because she's smoking by the window because they're all smoking cigarettes, just smoking constantly.
Yeah.
One of the girls looks out the window and she like shouts over to Neva that her dad is leaving. And in the next chapter, we begin just like after her dad is gone and she's just sitting in Mrs. Richard Nixon's office all by herself with this like imposing woman, which is so shitty.
So sad.
It's like, if you guys want to get really pissed off, you should definitely listen to that Liberty Lost podcast that we were talking about. It is also just like, man, I hate a man. It's hard. Like, I try not to, but we've been talking about it a lot with Twilight and stuff. And my friend that said, I think all men should start in jail. At first, I thought she was being a little extreme, but then you hear stuff like this. Somebody's own dad not even having the courage to say goodbye to her while she is going through something and acting as though it is his big deal that he is going through her being pregnant.
And also when he's fucking abandoning her.
It's just crazy.
This isn't an excuse, but we're going to learn later on that that's part of the program.
Oh.
The program is the they want these girls to feel left and lost and abandoned.
Of course.
That doesn't excuse her dad not being like, well, fuck you. This is my daughter. I'm going to do what.
Yeah.
What.
If you're like a real parent and someone tells you you're not allowed to say goodbye to your kid, you leave. You're not leaving them there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously this, fictional father, but representative of, I'm sure, thousands of fathers in the 70s.
Yeah.
Didn't have the courage or the wherewithal or whatever descriptor you want to use to actually go take care of his child.
Yeah.
Which is inexcusable. So anyway, in the next chapter, we learn that Mrs. Richard Nixon is actually named Mrs. Wellwood, and that this house is called Wellwood House after her family name. Miss Wellwood is going to explain the rules of the house on another house tour, the real house tour. The first one with Rose was kind of a deceptive little head fake to get her dad to leave without it, right? So she takes her on like the real house tour, and she tells her about the rules. There's a lot of them. Some of the like the structure of her stay will be that on certain days a teacher will come out to help them with like school stuff and keep them from falling too far behind. But on the other days, they're just going to work around the house, which ends up being what a lot of these houses in like the real world are. They're little labor camps. But we don't get too far into that stuff here, but in the real world, these houses had a big component of being like labor camps for free youth labor.
Jesus.
Miss Wellwood explains that she's there because of her sin and that her job is to cleanse herself of her sin. And once the baby is born, she's going to give it away to an adoptive family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Miss Wellwood explains that this is, again, I hate to keep going back to it, but if you listen to that Liberty Lost podcast, this came out concurrently, and it tells me that Grady Hendrix did a lot of real serious research into what these houses were because, man, it mirrors that stuff perfectly.
It really does.
Was she thinking of keeping her baby beforehand?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't know much about that yet. But she's going to give her baby away to an adoptive family, as Miss Wellwood explained, someone who deserves it.
And we know from our experience with this kind of media in the nonfiction space as well that that's real.
That's very real.
That's very real for how these homes are run.
And it's how they make their money.
Yeah.
These parents are paying for these adoptive babies. They're selling them. Before her meeting with Miss Wellwood is over, she's given a new identity, right? This is to protect her and her family from shame. Only the staff are going to know her real name. All the other girls will know her by a fake name, just like they've been introduced to her, like Rose, right?
Yeah.
Miss Wellwood brings out an index card. She tells Neva that her name is Fern, and that as far as anyone knows, she's from Baltimore. And it has this backstory. It has some like other details. Like if anyone were to ask, she's to tell them like, this is her birthday, that she's from Baltimore, that she's, whatever, right? Not any of her real details.
It's like she's a fucking spy. Well, and
Right.
it's to disconnect them from the babies, I assume.
Yeah.
It is. That's exactly what it is. And it's also to make sure that the doctors don't know her real name either. When she ends up going to the clinic later on, when they give birth, like it's all Fern. It's never her real name, and it's not her real details. There's a nurse.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. There's a nurse that comes to the house. The nurse only knows them all by their fake names.
A quick not really like this, but like a little bit of a confirmation like that. When my mom was not in a Wayward home, but she did have her first kid in like 71, 72. Mm-hmm. And then another one quickly after that she put up for adoption. And we always had thought that my brother was adopted by a doctor and his wife, like an older doctor and his wife, because that's what they told my mom. We found out when we finally met my brother, his adopted dad was not a doctor. He was a mechanic. Like they weren't like broke or whatever, but he wasn't a doctor. And then also that they took him from the hospital, drove him to another hospital across town that was a different religious affiliation, and then acted like he was born there and gave him there. And it's all to keep you from being able to find your baby eventually.
Well, and to engage on your right to reclaim.
Yeah.
Like there's usually a legal right, and it's a very short period of time.
Yeah. And this isn't to necessarily say that the adoptive parents are doing anything super wrong here.
No.
They don't necessarily know what's going on. But also, if a bunch of adoptive parents were suddenly to start, having these girls come back around and trying to reclaim and trying to have a relationship, that would be bad for business for the house. And word would get around that this house is, somehow, shady or whatever, which they are. But that would be bad for business, and people wouldn't buy their babies or adopt from that
adoption
agency.
And community care is like, it's been around for forever. And it's also like other species do it. Bears will adopt when, a mom dies, they'll take in the other cubs and stuff like that. But it becoming a for-profit industry, like a billions of dollars industry, is where the issue is.
I mean, you have companies deciding who is allowed to adopt babies and being able to charge money for it. And the craziest thing about that is they can do that, but you can't charge money for a couple to adopt your baby. Like that's illegal. That's selling kids. But a company, a third party can, and that's crazy.
And it's not like, oh, we're just paying for like the hospital bills or something like that. Or like, for a couple of our social workers, it's like, no, this is a very expensive industry, and people pay a lot of money to adopt babies.
Would you Would you rather encounter a man who's adopted a child in the woods or a bear who's adopted a child in the woods?
A bear who's adopted a child in the woods. I have actually.
Have you?
A bear that's adopted a child.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was
not a man.
I was worried until you said it was the bear.
Well, wait, now hang on. You encountered a bear in the wild who had adopted a child?
One of the bears near my house growing up has adopted 2 cubs.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Because my dad was able to tell the bear from other bears. There's some of them have like names. Mm-hmm. And this bear had brought in 2 other cubs from a different bear's family.
That's so cool. I love that. I was like, hang on, let's not move too
So not in the woods, it's just like in my house, but it's not that different from the woods, honestly.
Well, yeah, there's a bear there. So
yeah.
Yeah, you live in a place where bears are normal. Every now and then a bear gets loose in Lexington. Have you?
And it's fuck wild because people are not used to bears.
It's always around the UK too. I don't know why. I don't know how they get that deep into the city without anyone noticing them.
They're looking for education.
That is miles into the city.
And we mean UK like University of Kentucky.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's there. The edge of town is miles away in every direction at UK. It's like right downtown. So no idea how they're getting there. I have to assume that someone is putting them there. Maybe not on purpose, right? But like, I don't know. Do they transport bears? Are there bear transports?
So I have a theory.
Escape from? Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure like there's a Lexington Reddit thread about this, but I feel like it's that forested area right off Alumni. You know, there's like all of these trees right along Alumni Drive, which runs along the University of Kentucky. And there's like a bunch of forested stuff that lines along neighborhoods. And I feel like they must be just following the forested area until it ends. And then they're in downtown Lexington.
Maybe, but like there's walls on both sides of that from those neighborhoods, right? There's like those sound barrier walls. So it'd just be like tunneled for miles through there.
Yeah.
Someone would see it, right?
There's walls, but there's got to be gaps in them.
I'm sure you're right. There's probably gaps. Also, like, when has a bear not been like, I can just like,
yeah.
What if the bear has like
meant to climb and like,
frosted tips and it's just like got a backpack on and that's how it's getting to downtown? It's just like, I'll go to the University of Kentucky.
It's everyone I knew in college when I was at UK in like 2001. Yeah.
It's that they're wearing a disguise. I think that's 100%.
That's what it is.
I'm not going to think twice if I see a college-bound bear. That's their business.
It's just a guy in a trench coat walking down Alumni Drive. What are you talking about? It's not a bear.
3 bears stacked on top of each other.
That's so funny.
It was 19 feet tall, but it was wearing a trench coat. How are we to know anything?
Kids these days, I don't know what they look like.
You throw a trench coat on anybody and...
Man, there's a coyote in the road. This is way off topic. There's a coyote in the road on my way to work the other day. And at first it like sees me and like runs across the road. And I was like, oh man, like... It's a big ass dog. And then I looked closer. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's a coyote. Jesus. And I was also like, why is it by itself? Like, what you doing, bub? And it was just like, I don't know what I'm doing either.
That's so wild. I feel like that's a bear, too. Because have y'all ever seen a shaved bear?
No.
They look like werewolves. Like, they look like wolves.
Hang on.
Yeah, you're going to have to look it up. And, Bridget, if we can put one up on the screen for the people watching.
Shaved bear. No, not beard. Bear. All right.
They look actually more like dogs than anything else. Like, it's crazy. Are you seeing it? Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It looks like it just looks like a big rat.
Yeah.
With this big fluffy, because it didn't shave its head, like its face, so it's still got all the fluff on its face.
Bears
oh my God.
Are so crazy looking.
That's insane. Man, they look so much cooler with their fur.
They do. It's really the better.
I can see why they don't shave.
Yeah,
you know,
not a good look.
I can tell why they don't do that.
But they do get frosted tips.
Sure.
Yeah. And try to further their education.
Where do they get them? Is it all over, or is it like on their head only?
Oh, just specifically on their head.
Okay.
Yeah, they got to keep the look consistent.
All right. So during this meeting where Fern gets her new identity, she realizes that her father forgot to take back his wedding ring and she still got it on her finger. So she takes it off and she hides it. A couple of things are going to happen. And that's one of the things. So I put that in my notes because it just felt like something that was going to be important later. Yeah. So I was like, I better put that down because I'll get to this later and it won't tie back to whatever it's supposed to tie back to. Hint, hint. Sometimes I do this and it means nothing. And I would hear episodes of Edging where I was like, what the fuck was I talking about that? Because it actually didn't mean anything, but sometimes it does. And this is one of those cases where you want to remember that wedding ring.
All right.
All right. So a couple of things are going to happen in the next little bit of the book. So I just kind of listened for a little bit and stopped taking notes. And then I kind of jotted down some broad strokes later on, right? First of all, we're now going to be referring to like the main character as Fern throughout because that's how the narrator refers to herself. So, the identity, Neva's identity, her real home place is stripped away. She's Fern from Baltimore. And we're going to start getting into like the routine of the day. At dinner time, the girls all sit down with Miss Wellwood for dinner. They all have like different dietary restrictions that their doctors and nurses have like imposed for them, right? So there is some like semblance of medical care actually happening here, and they do have sort of a personalized meal plan, right?
Okay.
So smoking is fine, but don't you dare eat processed meat.
Well, it's gonna be salt, okay? So yeah, it's gonna be salt. So they're all complaining about the food, and they're like kind of bickering and also kind of like goofing off. And after dinner, Miss Wellwood goes home. This is a routine every single night. She sits down for dinner with like all the girls. And this is one of those things where like she thinks that this is like her putting herself out for the girls when really she's just making them all really uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But she thinks that this is her like kind of doing her duty and like being the matriarch, but she's still going home. She still has her own life outside of here.
And they would like prefer she wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah. It's control, right? It's about control. Then they're all like complaining, they're bickering, they're goofing off. After dinner, she goes home. The girls all go upstairs and they watch TV. They're all smoking cigarettes. They're all like huddled by the windows and like watching the TV across the room. So many, I can't get over it. So many pregnant girls smoking in this book. At bedtime, Fern cries herself to sleep while Rose, her roommate, like kind of bullies her by like farting a lot. I mean,
that's girlhood, dude.
Well, I was gonna say like there are these great little moments where that stuff happens, and it brings you back that like, oh yeah, these are like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Right? In the morning after breakfast, they go to a clinic where all the girls get seen every week. There's a nurse there that seems to be like, I don't know, she seems to be pretty nice. And the nurse looks at Fern, and when she hears some of the things that Fern like repeats to her that she's heard around the house, the nurse is like trying to comfort her and be kind of, just like really accommodating and listening to her. But then the doctor comes in, and the doctor is another story. He does this like examination that is written to feel like it's basically like molestation, right?
Oh God, yeah.
I'm not going to get into a lot of because it was, for reasons. It was really uncomfortable to listen to. A lot of this is also pretty uncomfortable to listen to.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of like shaming. He is being really aggressive with his hands in the areas that like are relevant to pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's an adult kind of doing this to a kid, and it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
She goes to see a social worker, and the social worker also seems nice, like the nurse did. But even the social worker like calls her Fern, doesn't call her by her real name. She's like, all these people are like in on the program. There's like a real partnership here, and they've agreed to, kind of go by the rules because they're probably making quite a bit of money by seeing all these patients, right? So everyone's kind of got their hand in the pot here. So something about this social worker too, as I was listening to it, it just gave me like a big like youth pastor energy. You can always tell. It's funny, like you see like personalities on the internet too, and I'm like, that's a youth pastor.
Yeah.
Like long before you like find out about, like that's a youth group kid. Like long before you figure it out, you can just kind of tell the energy. She's like using like cool lingo from the time, like groovy and stuff like that or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to be her buddy, but it felt real familiar to me growing up in like youth group settings, right?
You know who else is goated with the sauce? Jesus Christ.
So in this first conversation, the social worker put like a lot of emphasis on her opportunity to like start over and have like a new chance at life, right?
Yeah.
She talks about like how beautiful it is to be able to provide a child to a loving couple who can't have a child themselves, which, look, is objectively in its own space, removed from everything else, a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But there's some manipulation beginning to happen here, right?
That's not something you ever need to say to a pregnant teenager who is very out of their depth on how to
or
deal
a pregnant
with the
person in general.
Yeah.
Without a parent around or any other like adult representation too, right? So this social worker just right there on the spot on this very first visit gives her a document to sign that would surrender the rights to her baby once it's born.
Oh, wow.
She sees that her dad has already signed it. So that's what he was doing in Miss Wellwood's office before he left. He was signing off on that form, I guess.
If your dad needs to sign off on you giving your baby up, we're already like in a place I hate.
Yeah.
Like we're already really in a place I hate.
Yeah. Well, so the social worker still needs her to sign off on it in addition to her dad. So her dad can't just do it for her.
Yeah.
Now, in the 1970s, that might not have been true.
Yeah.
Because we know that at this time, like, you couldn't have a credit card without your husband's permission. You couldn't, like, could you be, like, on the house if you own the house?
I think you could be on it, but
I don't know if you could buy it. I think you could inherit it.
You could inherit houses.
Yeah.
And you could be put, like, on, I think you could get put on the mortgage, but it would have to be done by a man.
Yeah, yeah. So we're in that period where, like, that stuff is about to change, but maybe hasn't quite changed yet.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're just past that having, I don't know exactly where the timeline is here, but we're in that area where it's gray, right? So, knowing that this is like a gray area, where even if it's not technically needed, they're going to go ahead and do it anyway, because they kind of see which way things are going, you know, in the culture. And they decide that later on down the line, it's going to be better if this thing was signed off by the actual mother, right?
Yeah.
No matter what the law is currently, right?
Yeah.
So she signs the document, but when she signs it, she has to literally sign it Jane Doe. She's not even allowed to sign it by her fake name.
Wow.
Because her fake name would hold up no legal significance, right?
But why would Jane Doe?
Apparently it does.
I guess for anonymity.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were to put your fake name, it would be invalid. But this standard Jane Doe, which is meant to be like an anonymous signature, is valid.
Yeah.
So they won't let her sign it with her fake name. So this is something that you're getting the impression they've been through this before. It's gone wrong before.
Yeah.
They've corrected their process to adjust for that. And she is sitting like in the seat that dozens or hundreds of girls have sat before her.
Yeah.
So now sprinkled like throughout their days are like, there's like a literature book like called Hello and Goodbye and like How to Change What I Don't Like About Myself, like all around the house where they're living. Mm-hmm. They've got these little pamphlets and like little books. They're like basically kids books, right? But like Hello and Goodbye. They are, you know, in the middle of a big, huge manipulation operation.
Yeah.
Every now and then they receive a letter from a girl who used to be at the home, right? And I put letter in quotes, which means that I would have physically gone back in and put the quotes in because you can't do that with the voice to text.
Yeah.
So I put it in like air quotes. They receive a letter from a girl who used to be at the home, but decided to keep her baby instead. And this letter just like talks about how much she regrets it and how hard her life is and how she's missing out on so much of the things her friends are doing. Now, call me crazy, but I don't think that's a real thing that people do. I don't think that people who have this horrible thing happen to them and then regret it so much just spontaneously write letters to strangers that they don't know in a house where they used to be.
I think that if they had regretful teen mothers, they'd bring them in to talk to these girls.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Real.
They'd be willing to do that. And they probably wouldn't have to write a letter. They'd probably be nearby, right? You probably don't have to. So anyway, just huge pieces of shit, right? Mm-hmm. Can't overstate it. This is an awful operation. But yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like the thing that people do.
No.
But these are kids, right? And we have to remember that throughout the entire book, that these are literal children who are consuming this information and they don't know how to parse it.
Yeah.
And they don't have the benefit that we have of being pretty savvy. Like today, we always think we're being scammed, right?
Yeah.
Because we are, right? We're always being scammed, but that wasn't the case back then. Yeah. There weren't telemarketers calling you and trying to trick you into giving you the, oh man, I almost got got by one the other day.
Really?
Ooh.
So, okay, side question. I've had to go back and I'm going to have to do this free delete me ad here, but I have to do one of those things because I did a DoorDash order, which I almost never do because it's so stupid expensive, but I did a DoorDash order. And I got a call almost immediately after I placed the order. And the thing on my phone said DoorDash, right?
Wow.
It was the number, but it said DoorDash. It didn't say Scam Lightly or something like that. And I pick it up, and it's a voice, with an accent, which you come to expect, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem suspicious from customer service. Mm-hmm. This guy is able to. He's like, hey, you just placed a DoorDash order, but your account, it looks like something went wrong and it's gotten locked up. I need to confirm a couple of things so I can unlock your account. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And he was able to read. He was like, you ordered from Buffalo Wild Wings. You ordered he was able to read my order to me.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, this is real, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, can you confirm the email address? And I confirmed the email address. And he was like, and your phone number ends with, and he gave me the last 4 of my phone number.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, I'm going to send you a code. I just need you to read that back off to me. And I was like, no, wait a second. You're never supposed to give those codes away. By the way, never give those codes away.
Yeah.
Or do if you look, if you're bored.
Yeah.
And if you've never experienced identity theft or don't know how credit works, this can be a really fun experience. But you're never supposed to give those things away. Yeah. So I was like, wait a second. And then it came through the little 6-digit code. And it says on the thing, DoorDash will never call you to ask for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, fuck this. And I hung up on the guy. But, man, he almost got me.
Well, and that's so easy. It just seems so not nefarious.
Yeah,
and
he read my order back to me. So he was either in the I probably shouldn't have said. We can bleep the restaurant later. But he was either in their system or in DoorDash's system, right?
Yeah.
Because he could read the order to me. He didn't guess that. Down to the sauce.
Yeah, he had it.
So he was there.
Well, this is also a PSA because I bet that's a scam that is getting people.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so we're used to being scammed, right? Mm-hmm. These people weren't. So a letter like that coming in could have been pretty believable, especially if you're, a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, one night, after the TV goes off, Rose starts talking about how she doesn't want to give up her baby. Remember, Rose and Fern are roommates. So Rose has gotten past her fart bullying, I guess. And she's talking about how she doesn't want to give her baby up. Instead, she wants to get a big house out in the country where the two of them can live, and she can go out in the fields with her baby at night, and they can lay down and look at the stars, and she can teach her all the stars' names. And this really got me because, I'm a space nerd. And I was like, man, that sounds so sweet. That sounds cool. And for a moment, all the girls had the same thought because they're in this dorm setting, right? Mm-hmm. That maybe somehow it could be a nice life.
Yeah.
But everything in this environment is trying to convince them that it's not.
Yeah.
Right. And that it's a disaster. So one day, the bookmobile comes around, right?
Ooh.
Did you guys have the bookmobile?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't think we did. We had book fairs and stuff, but we didn't have a bookmobile.
Oh, man, we had the bookmobile.
The bookmobile would come to our school.
It came to the school, and it came to my daycare. I think I was still a little too young when it came to the daycare, but yeah, it would come to school. I loved the bookmobile. It was so much fun. That'd be a great job, you know?
Being like a mobile bookseller that you just come and you get to like help kids pick out books.
I know. So this is like a bookmobile, and it's based out of like a local library somewhere near. They're in the middle of nowhere, by the way. They're not like in a town. They're like in the middle of like flat, bleak Florida swamp, right? Mm-hmm. It's like flat and open in every direction. There's like a big clump of trees off in the distance behind the house, but everything else is flat, tall grass. Have you ever driven through North Florida?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
It's like it's bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense to our North Florida listeners.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
I don't. The parts of North Florida I'm thinking about, I don't think anyone lives there, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But they, it's kind of bleak up there. The bookmobile comes around, and it's based out of some library somewhere nearby, and there's a new librarian. So the girls like have made a deal to like get all the books that they can like share, because they only get one apiece. So they all kind of like ahead of time decide what books they're going to get this time, and then they're going to pass them around. Yeah. And then give them all back, right? Mm-hmm. And the house is also pretty restrictive in what they can get. Yeah. So this new librarian is kind of like edgy and cool in like a real way, not in the way that like the social worker was. Yeah. And she sees that Fern is like in distress because Fern has to pee. Fern has to pee all the time, which is like a thing that happens in pregnancy, you know? Yeah. She's worried that she can't hold it, right? So the new librarian sees that Fern is in distress and tells her to take like a certain book. Mm-hmm. She tells her to take it and hide it because they definitely won't let her have it. Yeah. And if they see what it is. But before she goes, the librarian puts her hand on Fern's stomach and something happens. The baby had been positioned like on her bladder, which was making her have to pee. She puts her hand on Fern's stomach and the baby moves and it shifts. And that like urgency to have to go to the bathroom just kind of doesn't go away. She's still got a bladder that's full, but there's not that I'm going to pee myself right now feeling anymore, right? So interesting, right? Yeah. So later that night, Fern reveals to the others that she has like an extra book from the librarian, the secret book that the librarian's given her. And it's a book full of spells. Oh my God. It doesn't take like a lot of convincing for the girls to like want to experiment with the book, right? Yeah. When you're a kid, especially like if you're a religious kid, like there's some magnetic draw toward this like witchy dark side stuff. I don't know. It's the whole reason that Bridget and I are friends. Yeah. But yep. It takes like, I don't know. It's hard to explain if you haven't experienced it, but yeah, it's just like this forbidden thing, and it's really appealing. But it makes a lot of sense that they would like want to experiment with it. They have like no power over anything, and this book is telling them that they can have it. They can take power. That they can kind of manifest power out of nothing. That there are things within their control. So the first thing that they decide to do is help the new girl with her morning sickness. There's another new girl. Neva's not the newest, Fern isn't the newest one anymore, right? So this new girl is getting sick all the time, but it's actually not just morning sickness. She's just throwing up like all the time, which is apparently more accurate, right? It's not just morning sickness. It's just like sickness. But she's been there for a couple of weeks. And as a side note, she's the first black girl at the home. Okay. So this is the first time the home has ever taken in a black girl. Oh. Her name is Xenia, which is her fake name, right? We don't know her real name. And she gets put in with Fern and Rose. She gets put in with Fern, and Rose goes to another room. Okay. So Rose gets like, if I remember right, it's like an attic room, maybe. And she's kind of by herself up there. Okay. In order to get like all the things that they're going to need for this spell, they're going to need to get on kitchen duty. So the spell is called Turnaround in the book, and it's supposed to take something from you and give it to someone else. So they're going to give Xenia's morning sickness to someone else, or Xenia has to keep it, right? So there's this thing, and actually I can't remember if it comes up later or it comes up now. I'll just bring it up now. there's this thing in this book that, like, nothing is for free and nothing just disappears and nothing just appears. If you get rid of something, you have to put it somewhere. If you get something, you have to take it from somewhere.
That's cool.
Right? And if you create something, you have to give something back to the universe.
Yeah.
Right? In order to create it. Nothing is free. So in order to do this spell, right, they need an egg and they need like a few other things. Xenia has to like prick her finger and put a little bit of blood on the egg. They swish it around in some lemon juice and then like something else. And I can't remember exactly what all goes into the spell. It's been a year since I've read the book or listened to it. But they're supposed to like rub it over her belly and chant something. So they do this, right? And when they do, the egg starts to turn like a dark gray. And then they put it in like a witch's bag, which might be like the rest of the spell, I guess. I don't know what a witch's bag is, but in my head, it's like that thing with the teeth that I did in that 13 episode.
Yeah.
So Xenia is like really sensitive to smells. They make her throw up all the time, right? So any kind of strong smell. So Fern takes it with her to her next appointment at that like shitty doctor. And she hides it in his office. And upstairs, so they're testing it to see if it'll work, right?
Yeah.
So while she's at the doctor, some of the girls that are still at the house, along with Xenia, they take her upstairs and they expose her to like some smells like ammonia and stuff like that. And while they do it, this doctor that's in the room with Fern, they time it so that he's in there with her. He just starts like vomiting uncontrollably.
Oh my God.
So they transfer Xenia's morning sickness onto this doctor, which is pretty cool. Yeah, right?
I'm obsessed
Objectively
with that.
pretty cool thing to do. And I love that they're just like, well, like the easy thing to do here would be like, well, we'll just give it to this other girl that we don't like, or we'll give it to because these girls don't all like each other, right? They're just like any other group of people that are thrown in together. It's like a really bad Real World episode. That's a reference for like people who were on MTV like 30 years ago. But on another day, they're like in the kitchen working with Hagar. Hagar is a cook and like cleaner around the house. Hagar is also black, like Xenia. And the house is surrounded by all these woods. And the girls are all like talking about rumors of like killer hippies that are living out there, like the Manson family, right? After the Manson murders, every town had killer hippies like lurking just outside of it in the woods or whatever, you know? But Hagar tells him another story. It's an older story. Because Hagar is actually from here, right? And it's about how the woods like have gone sour, she says. Don't know what that means, but the woods have gone sour. And before the interstate came through, all these places were farms and people lived there for decades. And after the highway came through, it cut through the farms. It left all this like dead land behind. And the forest is like full of graves. So that night, Fern has trouble sleeping. She's tossing and turning. And when she wakes up, she looks up and the door out into the hallway from her and Xenia's room is open. It's not supposed to be open. And in the doorway, there's a big black dog just looking at her.
Ooh.
Holly, by the way, can't speak. Holly is another girl in the house. She gets up and she just like starts following the dog. The dog turns around, starts walking away, and Holly just follows the dog.
Okay, girl.
I know, right? Rose, Xenia, Fern, they all get up and they all start following too. At first, like out of concern for Holly, but then like out of curiosity. The front door is standing wide open. Again, shouldn't be, right? It should be locked up tight. But the door is standing wide open. This dog just calmly walks out. These four girls just walk out behind the dog. And they start walking toward the woods, following this dog. And they're worried about the killer hippies in the woods, but they keep going until suddenly they get into the forest and the forest opens up and there's a river. It's huge and it's out of place and it shouldn't be there, but it is there. The girls wade like into the river to swim, and then they sit by the bank of the river and they talk and they tell each other about like how they got pregnant. They talk about their lives back home, which they're not supposed to do. And they don't tell each other their real names, but they do tell each other like where they're actually from and details about their lives and who you know, the father of their you know, get their babies are. And then out of nowhere, they hear this voice, and they look over, and it's the librarian again.
Oh.
The one that gave them the book about the witchcraft out of the bookmobile. So the girls are all spooked, and they like, you know, freak out. I think they've been like skinny dipping too. So they're like, oh shit, there's an adult, right? Rose is like defiant, demanding to know like why she's out there and like what she's doing and what she wants for them and like why she gave him this book of, you know, of magic. And Rose accuses her of being like someone like her parents or her grandparents' generation trying to like take advantage of young people. Rose has a lot of like misguided suspicion, right? Yeah. Rose reminds me of those people that really annoyed me in high school that like felt like they were the smartest person in the room, but they were the dumbest people in the room. You know, Rose kind of reminds me of those people, right? Very performative hippie kind of people, I guess. I'm so sorry if you're one of those people, but yeah, I mean, not to say they're bad people, but they just grade me a little bit, right? Yeah. Rose is absolutely one of those people, but she's also 16, right? Yeah, Rose is a couple years older. She's 16. We're all think we're the smartest person in the room when we're 16 years old, right? Anyway, yeah. So the librarian like tells Rose that like she's like severely miscalculated her age by thinking she's her parents' or grandparents' generation. Fern goes quiet. My note says Fernie gets quiet because it was voice to texting. Yeah. Gave her a nickname. Holly doesn't speak. Remember, Holly can't speak. And then the librarian is, she says that she can give them anything that they want, that the book is full of promises, but it's going to be for a price. And this is where she explains, you know, you can't, nothing comes from nothing. Yeah. You know, that whole thing. And Fern, like, Rose, like, starts to push back, you know, thinking that she's talking about money and that she's trying to, like, get these girls to pay her money. Mm-hmm. But Fern realizes that she's asking something else. And Fern says, how much? What's the price? Right? She interrupts Rose and jumps in there because Fern is, like, kind of into it. Yeah. Right? There's, like, this quiet, and the librarian says that the price is eternal loyalty, to which, listeners, if the price of anything is eternal loyalty, right? It's too much. Yeah. Right? That's just too much.
That's a long time.
It's a whole long time.
Way too much.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't do it, right? Yeah. Don't join a cult. Don't. Avoid it. Fern like really likes the idea of this because I don't know, Fern doesn't feel like anyone's been too loyal to her, right? Yeah. And this seems to be the only person trying to tell Fern that she has any kind of autonomy in the world, right? So loyalty to someone who's giving her autonomy doesn't seem like such a bad thing when she's been stuck in this house by her parents, by her church, by everyone that she trusted and loved. Rose is like oppositionally defiant, so she's obviously like out, right? And Xenia hasn't said much of anything, but you can tell that she's skeptical. Yeah. And Holly, of course, can't speak. We don't really know much of what's going on in Holly's head right now. Okay. We're going to learn more about Holly later on, but right now she's kind of, she's a little bit of a black box. We don't know what's going on in there. As they start to like walk away, the librarian, who we're now calling Miss Parse, grumbles like this threat. Something like, you know, do you think you can cross me or something like that? But then she like immediately softens again and says that she only wants to help them. She says that they have to do, all they have to do is turn their backs on the world of men. And in this, she's not talking about like men, the gender. Right. This is like spiritual language, like the world of man, you know, sort of thing. This phrase would have been like really common in their worlds as like devoutly like religious people, right? Yeah. And in this instance, like we're also getting the like I don't know, we're just getting this very like kind of evangelical language kind of turned on its head, which evangelical like churches wouldn't have been much of a thing at this time. Yeah. This was still like a time of very like stark denominational lines. But even though Fern likes the idea of this, she sticks with the other girls who are skeptical. And all of a sudden they hear a voice from behind them. And it's not a voice that any of them have heard before. It's actually Holly. Oh. And Holly is having a full-blown panic attack at the sight of all this, because Holly, more than any of them, is deeply, deeply devout and deeply religious. And she says that she can't do any of this because she's having God's baby.
Oh, God.
Oh, poor thing.
And what she says next is even weirder. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like an advertisement.
Oh,
that was good. Remember how I said that Bridget and I were only friends because of the like weird witchy thing? That was weird. That was a weird thing to do. Sorry about that.
In your defense, Bridget cast a spell on me when we were going to the bathroom.
She did. I saw that happen, and that's cool. But Bridget and I are actually friends because like we met weirdly like at I think Elle's birthday party like a year before we actually met, because you invited me, Brooke.
That sounds right.
And I didn't know anybody, but I was also, I don't know, whatever, but I was weird because I didn't know anybody. And also, you looked like you didn't know anybody, but I think you actually did, and you were just quiet. But we ended up sitting next to each other at one point, and I was just like, this is weird. I don't know anybody here. I'm going to leave pretty soon. And then I did. And then when Brooke introduced us, like, for Olive Hill, I was like, I think that's the girl that was at Elle's birthday party that sat next to me, and I just kind of left and didn't say anything to anybody.
I have no recollection. Would it have been...
Maybe it wasn't a birthday. Oh, you know what? Never mind. It wasn't a birthday, but we were out because it was the first night I met Elle.
Oh, okay. So we're just like out and about.
We were just out, but Elle was like on a date or something, and I think that like some friends were...
sidebar.
We were at Al's.
Oh, okay.
On their back patio. I think so.
It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time. But yeah, that's the first thing. I think that's the first memory I have of you. And I was just like, well, I think I should probably go because I don't know anybody and don't know how to talk to people. So, and then we made like a bunch of podcasts together.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but also that was so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, and when we all became close is when we all became close, despite me and Bridget going to the same school and having crossover friends, because
having classes together.
Yeah, we just both thought the other person was too cool and we were too shy to approach each other.
Well, you thought that I was somebody that you met on like an app, right?
No, I thought that you were this guy I met at a Halloween party and then ended up hanging out, and I did not realize it was a date.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
And that got awkward very quick. And then I was like, hey, I'm just like not really feeling being in a relationship. And he was like, cool. And then he saw me on Tinder a few months later and was like, he texted me to be like, you're a horrible person. And I was like, okay.
What a weird guy. Hey, PSA, I know none of our listeners need to hear that. Take a hint. I mean, Jesus Christ.
But it was also just like weird. The only thing you two had in common is being bald and tall.
Yeah. I was going to say, what if I revealed right now that actually was me? And this has been such a long con.
Well, you're not a doctor, so.
Ouch. Oh.
There you go.
Man.
Wow. That's so fucking funny.
Because I was also in the situation where I was like, I'm too young to date a doctor.
Oh, he was a doctor then?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was...
He was older than me.
Okay, got it. Well, okay.
And like, no offense to that dude if you are a listener now. I just thought you were Ian.
No, absolutely.
When I first met Ian, I was like, oh, God, this is so awkward.
All these men...
I'm having you read lines from my little story that I wrote.
But it sounds like this guy, I'm going full offense with this guy. This sounds like the kind of person who believes in the friend zone. And if you're an adult who thinks that you're really young and cool when you're trying to date younger girls, but the second they reject you, you're so much more mature than they are, this is for you. This is a middle finger for the people listening.
He could be a listener because I met him at a Halloween party of a mutual friend of ours.
Oh, my God.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
So
what? Wow, I don't.
I've been to that person's house, right?
Not the Halloween parties I used to go to.
Okay.
This was at a mutual friend, like a college friend.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was thinking about another person. I think you know who I'm thinking of.
Catherine?
No.
Oh. The Halloween parties I used to throw with my old coworker.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
That was fun.
They were fun. We'll get on.
You got on her roof.
Yeah.
I was gonna say those are my climbing days.
Well.
All right, we can figure this out later. What we're figuring out is what's Holly's deal, right?
Yeah.
Why is Holly having God's baby?
Oh, I know why.
Yeah, you know why.
Yeah.
When we get back, Miss Parse is like off in the middle distance. She's throwing the stick back and forth with her dog. The dog that like led them out there, right? By this big mysterious river that shouldn't exist. And like when they describe this river, it's like the Ohio. It's not like a little creek, it's not like the Kentucky River. It's like a big, huge river. This is like very eerie, like flowing dress in the moonlight kind of thing, going on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it. It's great, right?
Yeah.
It's a cool vibe. But while Miss Parse is playing with her dogs, the girls like gather around Holly, who, remember, we thought she couldn't talk until just a few minutes ago. And then she said that she was having God's baby. As the girls talk with her, we learned that this actually means she's having her pastor's baby.
Yeah, I figured that's what that meant.
Yeah. But that is why she's at this house, right? Because it needs to be a secret. And that's why he has like convinced her to hold on to it, because he's tricked her into thinking that it's actually God's baby and that this was some kind of, spiritual destiny akin to like the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
Maybe not all men
gross.
should start in jail, but all male preachers.
Yeah, I think for sure. It is. Oh, man. I don't even have words. It's not like I'm surprised. We obviously all knew this was coming, but I'm just so enraged.
Yeah. Holly explains to him how it happened. I'm not going to explain it here. We know. We get it. Fern shouts over to Miss Parse and asks her if she can keep Holly from having to go home. And Miss Parse says that she can show them, how the book works and how the power works, and that they can do whatever they like with it, including making sure Holly doesn't have to go home. They can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
In exchange, they have to renounce God and pledge their loyalty to her, which seems to be a pretty big stumbling block for these girls, right? That's a big one for them.
Yeah.
But of all of them, surprisingly, it's Fern that's the least hung up on that. Rose seems to be even more hung up on that.
Yeah.
Right? Even though Rose is like the oppositional, defiant, kind of like very performative hippie kind of girl, right? This group of like abandoned and abused children, they all look at each other and they ask, what has God actually done for us? But they also just have that gnawing thought, inside that like, what if everything we grew up knowing is real, and what if there is a hell, and what if we're all going to it for this, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, they look at their friend Holly and they think, we've got to do something.
Yeah.
So they do this little ritual, and, Holly has second thoughts. She's afraid of going to hell, and she knows that like renouncing God will cause her to do that. But they each cut their thumb and they press it against a page in Miss Parse's book. And with that, they've like done it, and they've, pledged their loyalty for her. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this book is called How to Be a Groovy Witch.
That's awesome.
That makes sense.
Incredible title. 10 out of 10. The next day, when they look at it, the book has changed. Now there's a table of contents, and there's no copyright page anymore. The book like didn't change just once. It seemed to like anticipate their questions. So they wouldn't know one of the words on the page. Hang on, what am I trying to say here? They wouldn't know one of the words on the page, and the next page it would like explain that word, right? So it would like include a definition right after when the book realized they didn't know what it said, right?
Yeah.
And it was like the same when they looked at it once, one day to the next. it would change over and over again, anticipating what they were going to want to know next. Rose's due date is July 5th, and on July 3rd, one of the nurses comes out to tell Rose that it's time for her to go to the hospital. Now, this isn't usually how it works. They wait until contractions begin, and then they take the girls. So everyone's a little confused about why they're trying to take her early.
Yeah.
And it basically boils down to the doctor, like that awful doctor we met earlier, wants to induce her early so it like doesn't interrupt his 4th of July weekend.
Oh my God.
So Rose refuses to go, saying that the doctor's weekend plans aren't going to determine like when her baby comes, which is kind of how it's supposed to work, you know? Like you can induce a day or two, or you can do that kind of stuff, but like it should be your choice, not the doctor's choice, right?
Yeah.
And if that doctor can't be there, then okay, another doctor should be, you know, whatever. But the doctor doesn't just decide for his convenience that this is what should happen. But apparently they do here. Doctor comes up to like explain that they're all just going to have to like take her down there, give her a shot, and like induce delivery if she continues to refuse. Like they're going to actually sedate her and take her. They all expect that like the next person to come around is going to be Miss Wellwood, but it's not. It's actually that social worker, the one who tries to be like really cool and like hip with the girls, but is actually like there to convince them to give their babies up for adoption. Rose continues to refuse, and there's this really telling moment where the social worker grabs her by her wrist and tries to force her out of the room, like completely losing her temper and raising her voice. But then she like regains her composure and like really quickly goes back to being like the cool, like whatever, right? I don't know. But this like physicality like causes Rose's water to break, and now it's happening anyway. Yeah. Right. So it kind of induces labor regardless. As they're escorting her out of the house to go to the hospital, Rose keeps shouting, "I'm not going to let you sell my baby." A couple of days later, Rose is back, but she's in another building on the property called the Barn. And this actually isn't a barn. I don't know why they call it. I think it explains why they call it the Barn, but I don't remember why. But it's like a recovery space for the girls after they have their babies. So they're separated away now. Yeah. And they're not allowed to see the girls that are still pregnant. But Fern sneaks out and she goes to see her. And the girls like all assume. So Rose had said that she wanted to name her baby Blossom. Rose's baby, they'd all expected would be there because Rose didn't want to give her up, right? Yeah. But on the way to the barn, Fern notices one of Miss Parse's dogs. The dog's name is Desi, and it's standing by the edge of the forest. And once Fern is like inside the barn, she realizes that Blossom isn't there. That might be one of those details that I thought was going to be important later that wasn't. The dog. And the dog's name. But the fur is like, once Fern is inside the barn with Rose, she realizes that Blossom isn't there. And at first, she thinks that she's probably like still at the hospital. And Rose tries to explain to her a couple of times that Blossom is gone, but this like isn't computing for Fern. Because Fern, as much autonomy as she's lost, can't imagine still losing that last bet, right?
They all really genuinely thought that if they wanted to keep their babies, they'd be able to.
Yeah. Rose never signed off on that document, by the way, to give the baby up for adoption, or at least that's what Rose says. Rose would say that, right? Because Rose is oppositionally defiant, but also Rose may not do that because she's oppositionally defiant, right? What Rose tells her next is like absolutely harrowing. Once Rose gives birth, another social worker comes in and declares that Rose, and Rose tells her that she can be a good mother, that she wants to be a good mother, but tells her that the social worker, right, the one that is supposed to be cool, comes in and explains to Rose that they can actually claim that this is delusional thinking and evidence of mental illness and have her convicted. Not convicted, committed. Yeah. So they give her a choice to sign off on the adoption or to be admitted, like a 1027. What is it called? Is it
5250?
5250. There we go. Like a 5250 kind of situation into a psychiatric hospital. And the thing about these kinds of hospitals, right? If she refuses to to sign off on this document and she gets in there, it's really hard to get out of these things, right? And everyone knows that. Rose refuses for 2 days, but then when it becomes really real, And they tell her that, like, once that happens, she could be in there forever. By the third day, she was begging them to let her sign away the baby. And I don't know, she was just really, really scared.
That's awful.
And remember, she's like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
I think she's 16. She's a couple years older than the other girls. Yeah. Fern remembers that dog outside by the edge of the... Oh, dog comes back. Okay. She tells Rose, we can do something. We have the book, right? We can get Blossom back.
Mm-hmm.
They've been seeing Miss Parsay's dog. Oh, this is Miss Parsay's dog, not Miss Wellwood's dog. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. By the edge of the trees. The dog has been, like, watching them and keeping an eye on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has been going on for, like, the entire time since they were out at that river. But something, like, turns behind Rose's eyes. They go outside and they approach Decima. That's the name of the dog, Decima. And the dog gets up, turns around and walks back into the forest, and Rose and Fern follow. And what they see is going to be pretty incredible. It's an advertisement. Wild the way that those North Florida advertisements just sneak up on you, you know?
So quick.
You're walking through the forest and then all of a sudden, bam, Blue Apron, you know?
Don't give them any ideas,
They
Ian.
got you.
I can't have advertisements in the outside. Like, it's
The next
already
time we-
so bad.
Next time we go hiking, you know, someone's going to walk up to us and it's going to be a Casper mattress representative, you know?
Hey, I just need a minute to talk to you about Casper mattress.
Yeah.
If you can put this blindfold on, I'll let you continue looking at the view once I'm done.
It's like, oh, hey,
Man or bear or Casper mattress?
Still bear. Still bear, guys.
yeah. Hey, your feet look like they might be a little sore. You thought about Bombas socks, you know? We'd love you to advertise with this Bombas.
Yeah, huge fans. of
Honestly,
your work.
Casper, Blue Apron too. Go for it. You know, you can blindfold us in the... no. I was going to say blindfold us in the woods. It's cool, right?
Yeah, it's all good. Maybe we'll kind of field the advertisements, Ian. We'll handle it.
But you know who is blindfolded in the woods? No, they're not blindfolded, but...
No. What are you doing?
I don't know.
You're trying to get yourself out of this.
I'm changing the story.
He's on a Segway going so fast off a cliff.
Segway going off a cliff.
But Segway spelled like S-E-G-U-E, right?
Yeah. I don't know the difference in spelling.
I think the bike is S-E-G-W-A-Y.
Yeah, it's phonetic, and then like the pivot is the weird spelling.
Segui.
Yeah, it's French, I think. It's looks like it would be French. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably
that woman that was in Alien.
Oh, Sigourney.
Segway Weaver.
Segui Weaver.
Segway Weaver.
Segway Weaver.
So, Rose and Fern see Decima, Miss Parsay's dog, when we left off. The dog gets up, turns around, and walks back into the forest. And Rose and Fern follow. This time, it's not an advertisement. This time, they move through the woods. Fern, like, I don't know, she can't help but feel like someone is pacing them, like moving in parallel to, to them in the woods. They're being followed, but they're like being followed from every direction, even in front of them. Someone is pacing them, right? Mm-hmm. There's like this, I don't know, just a series of presences like enveloping them.
Yeah.
And they're on their way to go find Miss Parsay because they know that this is what Decima's doing here, the dog, right? The dog is there to lead them to Miss Parsay whenever they want to go. When they find Miss Parsay, this is going to change the story, right? The story is no longer going to be the story about these girls and the abuse that's happening to them. This is about to become a story of revenge. And that is where we're going to encourage our listeners to look at the Patreon, because you can hear the rest of the story. And this is actually, I'm pivoting to Patreon kind of unusually early in the story here. There's still quite a bit to go. Usually we like kind of cut to the last bit, but man, this just seemed like the place to do it, right?
Yeah.
This is about to become a story of revenge. Rose is going to, well, you can hear all about it by going to, what's our Patreon again? Because it's been so long since we've done this show, you know?
It is Edging the Podcast. Patreon.com/edgingthepodcast.
That's right. That's right. None of us have touched it for so long. So sorry, listeners, you know, because we haven't done the show in months.
Yeah. Right, listeners? Call us to tell us how glad you're back. Wink. How glad you are we're back after such a long gap.
Wink, wink.
It's weird that, you know, I don't know, we got to hang out more, you know?
We do.
We do. I mean, in real life and also in podcast.
Yeah, in podcast
goofing world too, yeah.
If being a man who doesn't show people his phone isn't toxic enough, he only shows people photos of skinned bears. I mean, birds are cool.
Enveloped by an energy, right? I'm not going to kind of go into it, but goddamn. But we can fix that.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the problem here?
Yeah. God.
All right, and I guess we're back, everybody. Right? We're back from. Hey, everybody, from the public Patreon and the super secret second Patreon that none of you guys know about yet.
Yeah.
That's a joke for us and the Patreon people. You guys wouldn't get it. It's fine. It's fine. Join up. Patreon.com, edging the podcast, /edging the podcast. Do it the second way, not the first way. Brooke, Bridget, how are we doing? This tale of revenge. How did it go? What are you feeling?
A very heartwarming ending.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the ending, but it feels like a real testament to this author. It feels very in her style too, but like it feels like the right ending for this kind of story, because I don't think it's really a story about the devil or witchcraft.
I do have to chime in there. This is going to hurt a little bit, but
is Grady a dude?
He's a man. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
My bad, Grady. Good for you. That's a compliment.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I know, because I thought it was probably a woman too, because, look, we got a couple things in common, Grady and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, absolutely a compliment, Grady. You don't sound like a man, so that's solid. And you're writing.
Grady can be out of jail.
Yeah, Grady's out of jail.
Grady's been permitted out of jail.
I'm very impressed with the end of this story, and it was definitely not emotional, and none of us cried. None of us cried even once, not a single tear. Wow.
I give that book. And I think this was in the patron section, but 5 out of 5 eels.
5 out of 5 eels.
Agreed. Yeah. How do you raise an eel? Let's look that up. We'll figure that out off mic.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll bring that to you guys next time.
So what is this book called?
This is called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix, and you can find it. You know where to find it. I don't have to tell you where to find it.
Wherever books are sold.
Wherever books are sold, or
wherever books are libraried.
Or libraried, or spoken aloud by a narrator. You know where to get books.
Yeah.
Which can also be libraried.
Yeah.
True.
We don't have to explain books to you guys.
Although that is kind of the premise of the show.
It is kind of, I just spent a long time explaining a book to people, didn't I?
But go read, listen to all of it, this one. Learn about the raising of eels and wayward girls. And we'll see you next time.
Wait, we're doing this again?
Yeah, we'll do like another one sometime.
Oh, okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
I thought this was, never mind. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.